the migrant crisis. It's getting to the point where I'm starting to see very reasonable people and even people that are on the left are starting to say, what the is happening to America? You know, you consistently see people say out there, especially on the right, a country without a border is not a country, right? And the resounding overall feeling of Americans traditionally is like, look, we love immigrants. We're all the children of immigrants. You're Canadian, you're Australian, you're the children of Cubans, your family's Guyanese and Puerto Rican. You're from the Dangerfield clan and down under in Australia. My family can't, Jake did it.
What?
Our family, my family fled the Bolshevik Revolution, communist Russia, went to Europe, ended up in Germany, and they say, oh, we don't like what's going on here, let's get to America. But they did it legally. They came through Ellis Island in New York. A lot of our families came through legally. What's happening in America today, people are wondering, what the hell is happening? So we have some stats for you. Malik, do you have some of those images that we can pull up here? Here's what's going on year over year in America's migrant crisis. This is yearly border apprehensions. Can you pull up some of these stats? So, as you can see here, it has not been this high since 2000. In 2000, I think 1.5 million border apprehensions. That was the most that there had ever been in the last 25 years or so. And then it went down and down under George W. Bush. It continued to go down to record lows under what they called the deporter-in-chief, Barack Obama. Trump, obviously with all his bluster and all his rhetoric, kept it down. But whatever the hell is going on under this open border policy, under Joe Biden, who was asleep at the wheel allegedly, going from 1.6 million to 2.2 million to crescendoing at 2 million back in 2003, it's insane. And we're starting to feel the effects in cities across America. We have some examples with this. So the most ever. But here are some of the topics we're going to be covering in this session right now. How a migrant influx is causing tensions in one of the most Hispanic cities in America. Hialeah, your Cuban people out there. A Venezuelan immigrant brags about living off taxpayers, urging followers to unite behind the Times Square shooter. I'm sure you guys heard the story of this unfortunate situation that happened in Georgia. A student was murdered by an illegal migrant who had previously been arrested. You have Governor of Georgia, Brian Kemp, saying that every state is now a border state, meaning it's not just Texas, Arizona, New Mexico, California, or even Florida that we're lucky enough to have our Cuban friends that took over Miami. Hundreds of migrants have been released at a bus station after aid money run out. And your good friend, AOC, who you speak very nicely about online, that's sarcasm right there, got into an argument that all she cares about is illegal aliens, and hecklers torch AOC during a town hall. So just to set the tone here, they're laughing at us. Yeah. They're using our kindness and they're mistaking our kindness for weakness. Malik, see if you can find the TikTok from the Venezuelan migrant who's bragging about living off taxpayers. I think that's going to set the tone for this entire conversation here. So Leonel Moreno. You like how I roll those R's though? Moreno.
It's just Moreno.
It's just Moreno. Sorry.
It's not
Here I am trying to I'm cultural appropriating some rolling R's. My bad, y'all. Leonel Moreno. A Venezuelan migrant posted a video urging his followers to unite and pay the fines off a 15-year-old migrant who shot a tourist in New York City. I invite you to find his mother and for all of us to unite to pay the fine so that the young Venezuelan feels that he is not alone during difficult moments. Okay, player. In another video, Moreno, aka Moreno, said, you came to the United States to work, I came to vacation.
Oh my God.
Look at the difference. Oh, there goes Amy. You and I didn't come to the same purpose. He later confessed, I don't like to keep work because it gives me allergies. Anyway, you're going to see what he has to say here. Malik, can you play this video, please?
A Venezuelan migrant bragged about living off of U.S. taxpayer money.
Confieso que a mí no me gusta trabajar porque me da alergia.
He doesn't want to work because it gives him allergies with a baby. And I live off the taxpayers.
Multiple TikToks encouraging more of his fellow Latinos to come to the U.S.
It's completely false that the border is closed. The border is open. It's open. It's open for everybody, he says.
The Venezuelan migrant urged his followers to protest to free the Times Square
now
shooter.
He's vouching for a guy who shot someone. That you need to pay his bill because he made a mistake, you know, by shooting someone.
No, he put an innocent mistake.
What do you think about Leonel Moreno? Is he wrong for encouraging more migrants to come?
Is he wrong?
And what do you think about the migrant crisis? Should we protect our borders, or should we let people seek asylum in our country?
Seek asylum.
Comment your
Does he look like he's
opinions on the
looking for
situation
asylum?
in the comment section below.
So this is obviously the conversation that is happening in America. You know, the situation is becoming an epidemic, right? And you have people TikToking openly how they're taking advantage of the American system. Laura, when you see something like this, how does it make you feel?
You know I'm burning up inside.
You gotta get some boxing rings. Bing, bing.
No, I know, no, burning up. No, not asylum. What asylum? He just said he came here for vacation. He came here to live off of essentially our tax-paying dollars. Not essentially, like virtually. And how does it make me feel? I mean, you know, obviously my parents came here legally, grandparents, obviously. My husband came here when he was 24, legally, everybody legally. And they're contributing so much to society. And these people are mooching off of the other, these immigrants, their taxpayers are paying for the other immigrants, which is wild. I don't think that's how AOC planned this whole thing out. It's like, oh no, poor thing. It's like, no, the ones that did it legally are paying the ones that do it illegally. I mean, it's so disgusting. And then the idea of paying for this guy, calling an innocent mistake to shoot somebody obviously shows them, again, going back to what we were talking about, like objective truth and evil. Like everybody knows it's objectively evil to shoot somebody.
Yeah.
And here we're going, no, it's an innocent mistake. Why? Because we have they're coming in with their culture and their, perverse culture, whatever they believe is okay. Maybe it's okay there. It's not okay here. So now what is okay here? We don't have a country when we don't have borders. It's not a sovereign nation. We have, it's just everything is completely melted. It's funny. It's this melting pot was supposed to be a melting pot of like the good parts of other cultures, and what's happening is just like a watering down of all the good of what was American culture, and it's just taking in all of the garbage of this guy literally TikToking.
So Laura, what would you say to the people that are like, well, you're racist?
I'm absolutely, I'm racist.
What would you say to that? You're racist.
It has nothing to do with
let them all in.
Send them back home.
How would you respond to that?
We need to have a country first. No, I'm the opposite. What would I say to that? I would say that giant wall that Egypt had, I want it twice as high and twice as deep into the ground. I want to block out everything, take care of us first, let us have a culture and a nation, everything that we were built on. That's when I say I'm conservative. That's what I mean. I want to conserve what we stood for. And when we came here, oh my gosh, am I going to get emotional about this?
Get emotional. Malik, pull up the wall that's going on in Egypt.
Please. When my family came here, it was for the American dream. I'm not doing this. No, next.
Well, where did your family come from? Say it.
My parents came from Cuba. My husband came from Spain. It was for America. This isn't America.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And why do you say it's not America?
Because America doesn't support this. It doesn't pay for people to be dyeing their hair, TikToking as they load up their cart saying you're paying for this. Honestly, when I see that, you know what it makes me think? I want to adopt that little girl. That's what I think.
That makes me want to send them back. Bye. Go back home.
I feel
That's
bad
how I
for
feel about it.
Yeah.
I see that.
What about your compassion? What about your empathy?
Send them all
What
back.
about helping these people?
Well, you think that behavior?
I have that for our people. I have that for Americans.
You think marketing that you're using people's money to make your life this beautiful life, and then you're gonna make money off of TikTok doing
twice
that?
as high,
no,
twice
you can
as
go
deep.
back home. And you can let people who really deserve to be here go through the process to be here, and let that be the case. I think it's ridiculous that we're sitting here letting. Honestly, I see that. I'm like, somebody find him.
Find him.
Find him and
you know
send him
what?
back home.
There's videos of
This idea of empathy, I have empathy. I want our people to do well, the ones that came here legally. And you want to talk about racist? This affects people that are here. It's like, why are we only thinking about the Latins that are coming in, or the Hispanic, however they want to call them, people, the diverse, the people that we're supposed to be not racist to, the ones that are coming in illegally? How about all those people that are actually here, that are Americans, that are doing it right? We're being racist, or we're treating them poorly. I don't get why we are not outraged at the people that are actually Americans that are getting treated poorly, only the ones that are somehow doing better than us. That's the thing, guys. I have so many stories of people. I mean, we have somebody that has been with her family for 25 years, trying to get papers and trying to doing everything right. She has helped our family, from my grandmother to my aunt, to watch our kids. She's darn it, man. Oh my, so
You're
much
getting going.
about
Jake,
Go.
by the way, Malik, don't play the videos until I tell you to play them. I don't want that. Jake, you're an Australian.
I'm sorry.
You know, are you trying to become a citizen of the United States? What are you trying to do?
If I could get my green card tomorrow, I would. But it is a robust immigration system that America have when it comes to foreigners and people from Australia and Western Europe, etc. But the problem is, like we said, when it comes from south of the border and when people just cross over, they have this catch and release program where basically you can just cross over, they'll catch you, then they'll just release you. And then what they will do is they will just continue to delay the process and just kick the can down the road, and then eventually they have so many options. And this is something that is obviously intentional, because if you try and tell me that the United States, the greatest empire that's ever existed in the history of the world, can't secure their border, you are absolutely kidding me. If we can fund a war in Ukraine, and if we can do all of these massive military, gigantic operations, but we can't secure a southern border, it's absolutely outrageous. So my problem isn't with the immigrants. I mean, if I was in Venezuela and I was living under a socialist dystopia, and if I was living on under $1 a day, and I had my family at my feet, and somebody said, my friend Raul come and says to me, hey, we can just cross this border and we can get into America, we can live off the taxpayer dollars, I'm going.
I know
100%.
They don't know any better.
Yeah,
They're doing it because we're inviting them. We're saying, come
But
here,
but
and we're going to pay for everything.
That's what I'm saying, though. My problem is with the I don't know, you're saying the same thing. My problem is with the politicians, and my problem is with the laws that govern it. And my problem is that it's actually intentional. It seems to me to be intentional.
No doubt it's intentional.
Yeah.
I mean, that was sort of the, you know, dare I say it, conspiracy theory. No, this is not intentional. This is the American dream. There's people are seeking asylum. They're political refugees, as they said in Scarface. But what's happening right now, you saw the stats out there. It's insane. We've never had anything like this before that we've ever seen here since America has had their borders. You know, and we would hear for years under Trump, and a lot of us fell for it. This wall is racist. You're keeping people out. Guys, using common sense, this is not racist to secure your border. You know, we showed images of what's going on in Gaza right now. Not that I'm trying to
Liken the two.
yeah, exactly, make the two the same issue. But in Egypt right now, you know, everyone talks about the Israeli wall is racist. You know, they're keeping the people of Gaza out, and they're basically separating. It's an apartheid state. They're separating the Israelis from the people in Palestine, and it's completely racist. And then they showed the wall, right? I don't know if you could show this wall of what's going on over here.
You want me to show it now?
What's that? Yeah, show it now.
All right.
But there's actually a wall on the other border with Egypt. There's way better video of this. I don't know if we can find it. The wall is the most absurd wall I've ever seen. There's barbed wire galore.
Oh, I saw.
And it's the Arab Egyptian Muslims who are trying to keep the people of Gaza out. Again, it's not a racist. It's not racist to have a wall to secure your border here. So here's the construction of it.
You know,
Here it
it's
is,
funny,
right here.
with all the crazy
So-
stuff that Trump says, when I saw that just now, I thought, wow, what a big, beautiful wall. And I'm thinking Trump said, but he was saying it because it's a big, beautiful, stinking wall. If it's going to stop all that's coming in, like I said, I want it twice as high and twice as deep in the ground to stop all this kind of stuff. So
we're gonna build a wall with a big, beautiful door.
big, beautiful wall,
And there's
and-
gonna be a little peephole in there. And if you want to get your rocks off, you look at the peephole, you see what's going on in America. But you stay where you're at.
It's not uncommon by any means, though. I mean, I've traveled around the world a lot, even over the past 12 months or so. And you go to a place like the demilitarized zone between North and South Korea.
In
which I was,
DMZ?
I was there last
You've been
year.
to South Korea?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I sort of peered over into North Korea. You can tentatively look in. And it's just the military presence there just shows you just exactly what countries are capable of when they put their minds to it.
Yes.
There is zero reason why there should be people coming over that southern border. I don't care how long the border is.
Yeah.
So
Kyla, as a progressive,
Yeah, I wanna hear
a reasonable
Kyla's thought.
progressive, what's your solution to what's going on here?
Yeah, I mean, I think I would just wholly echo it. The intentional part's interesting. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Canadian crisis right now in housing, but we are, in Canada, for example, we're going back like 2 to 3 years to immigrate enough people to like prop up our housing falsely. So when people say like this intentional stuff, they talk a lot about like voters. I don't really buy that, especially, as you would say, follow the money. When we often see that like all this immigration leads to like propping up and further inflating like real estate costs. The main thing that I think is interesting when I talk about this, and I'm super curious what you think about this, Jake, is the bipartisan border bill that got shut down recently in Congress was like one of the most, I mean, a lot of progressives were very, very opposed to it. It was one of the most incredible reforms. It was intentional about increasing ICE detainees. It was intentional about decreasing asylum seeking time, importing new judges, new border patrol, getting more staff on. Sorry, like it was a massive overhaul of the entire system.
But
And
Kyla, to be clear,
Republicans
was this
resisted
part
it.
of the foreign aid bill that got
Yeah,
the
it
border
was
bill?
also
Because they were
keeping-
calling it a border bill. I think it was $100 billion, if not more.
And
but
60 to
only
Ukraine.
But only 5 or 10 billion, I think, went to the wall. It was 60 billion to Ukraine, 20 billion for Israel.
Yep.
I think another 10 billion for Taiwan.
Yeah.
But they're calling it a border bill.
Well,
And now they separated it.
Well, I mean,
But is that what you're talking about?
Sort of. It's just like every sort of Congress bill is like always got like 90,000 things lumped in because
Yeah,
that's the way that you
pork.
make.
But
That's
the
the way you make
majority
negotiations as senators
should
and
be
Congress.
towards the thing that it's supposed to be for.
Well, the border bill was towards the border. It was just also towards foreign aid, right? But this is the way that most bills work. That's not actually like very spooky. That's
Right.
really standard. Although you might be opposed to sending money to Israel, like or Ukraine or wherever you're opposed to. That's fine. The interesting thing to me is that it was shut down so hard. And to be clear, the Republicans didn't say, we don't want to send more money to Ukraine. They said, this is not an aggressive enough policy for the border, even though the leading head of the bill was a very conservative Republican. It was a bipartisan bill, and it got
Well,
shut down
to be
super
clear,
hard.
it did pass the Senate. It's just struggling to
It's done.
to find
It's
life in the
dead.
House.
It's dead. At this point, Biden has to look at doing executive orders that won't stand up in court to try to shut down the border. So Biden is trying to do stuff about the border, and it's now the Republicans that are like putting up walls, which is like very interesting because they're putting up walls in some places and not others, I suppose. So I'm curious what Jake's thoughts was about this specifically.
yeah, I mean, I haven't really read into this too much, but it appears as though by what you're saying, there might be a little bit of political snakes and ladders happening.
Yeah, it seems like it.
Like there's maybe Republicans who don't want to pass the bill because they know that there's an election coming up and they want to be the ones to fix the border. There could be a bit of that going on.
Possibly,
I haven't
yeah.
looked into it enough, but if a part of it,
That's
Adam-
exactly what's going on, by
Yeah,
the way.
yeah.
Trump wants to be the Trump. Whether you love Trump or don't like Trump, there's one thing that you cannot deny. He wants to run on being able to fix the border. That's
Yeah.
undeniable.
And
He's
immigration
trying to
looks
make
bad for
immigration
Biden
and the
right now.
border a key issue. And by the way, that's very smart as a politician.
Yeah.
So he's encouraging people not to fix the border. Now, if you love America and you want to see less of this migrant crisis, you probably want to get this fixed immediately.
Right.
But if you're a Trump fan, you might want to say, well, let's wait, 6 more months to get this fixed.
Or you could say
Because
that
he
maybe
wants to run on this
they're
issue.
going to pretend to do it for 6 months, and they're going to pretend to care for 6 months, and then
Yeah.
when the election happens, if they get re-elected again, they pull back the measures again. So I can
There's
kind of
a
see
lot of
that
political
perspective as well.
posturing that's going on.
I
and
don't
that's
know.
always
Biden
usual.
has a pretty good track record of keeping his bipartisan bills like following through. Like Biden, like we're going to talk about old people in office soon, so don't worry. I've got lots of negative things to say. But one thing I've been really impressed with is bipartisan bills that he's been passing. I think he's actually done a pretty phenomenal job of really trying to bridge the gap. My concern is that there's some crazy lefties and there's some crazy righties, which is just like absolutely stalemating. And to be honest, you're right. Trump wants to fix the border, but also importantly, it looks bad. Biden is going to continue to look worse up until election day if he can't get a handle on the border. And if they stop him from doing anything, that just goes to their favor.
Let me
which is
get Laura
frustrating.
back in the mix. Well, you got that video from Andrew Schultz you can play, and then we'll move on to the situation that happened in Georgia. Just because it's very interesting, because the reason that I want to single out Laura here is 'cause Laura's family is Cuban. Your husband is from where?
Spain.
From Spain. So you're a Latina, even though you don't like to roll your R's, okay? Romero.
Well, No, it's Moreno, but it's
Moreno,
only one
Moreno.
R. It's not Moreno.
I'm
Okay.
sorry. I like to roll the R's. I like
When
to do
it's,
that.
when it's
I
a
like
double
it.
R. When it's a double R, like arroz, like you do, but not.
Arroz con pollo. Guys, it's so fun to roll your
Okay.
R's at home. Do it at home.
Okay, all right.
But I want to get your
Yes.
thoughts on this
Okay.
thing. So here's an article right now, how the migrant influx is causing tensions in one of the most Hispanic cities in the United States. Shocker alert, it's in Miami and
Hialeah.
Hialeah, which is, right now, I mean, Hialeah is 20 minutes away from here. It's
Yeah.
where all the Cubans basically hang out
Yeah,
here.
that's where my
I'm
parents
living
were.
in Little Havana at the
You're
moment.
living in
I'm
Little
the mayor
Havana.
of
That's
Little
also,
Havana
I
right
mean,
now.
Little Havana. You don't
Yeah.
need to be a professor to know that Little Havana is
It's
named
full of
after
Cubans?
Havana, Cuba.
No one speaks English.
But in the last 2 years, nobody speaks English.
No, in Hialeah
80,000
either.
Cuban migrants have settled in Hialeah.
Yeah.
Hialeah's mayor, Esteban Ovo. Did I say that okay? I don't know. He blames the southern border's collapse for Hialeah's strain of resources, the lack of affordability. So you have a Cuban mayor who has built an entire city on Cubans, basically saying shut down the border. And our good friend Andrew Schultz, who's going to be on the PBD podcast in I think 2 weeks, he gives a very funny anecdote here to how Cubans feel about the border. Malik can play that.
My favorite.
We got Cubans out here.
Turn it up a little bit.
Cuban's really my favorite, yo. I'm not gonna lie. I love. Que volá, I love Cubans because y'all turn into conservative Republicans immediately after getting to America. Like y'all are
'Cause we escaped
refugees,
communism.
immigrants, and the second you get that dry foot, the second that foot dry, you're like, okay, end the immigration. He said no. He said no. Hey, he said no immigration. Hey, it's too many people. It's too many people. How? Hey, we need a system. We need law. We need law. What? My foot dry.
That's exactly
My
what I
foot
sound
dry.
like. That's me.
I'm American now. Feel it, touch it. Tócalo. Touch it.
Tócalo.
Okay? I cannot play domino at the table. There's too many people coming. I cannot play domino. How I play domino if everybody coming? I'm not like you. I'm dry foot. You wet back. That's different. That's different. That's different. I'm dry.
All right, we can pause it right there. So it's actually very funny
That's actually-
because I want to get your thoughts on this. He says, it's very different.
It is.
I dry foot, you wet back. That's how it works.
It is
because
different.
The
We are
policy
different.
in America forever, especially in Miami, was
Wet foot.
the Cubans. They didn't, everyone thinks, the people that generally don't know how the map works and geography works. Cubans are different
We
from
swam in.
Mexicans, that are different from Venezuelans,
Yeah.
that are different from Colombians. Cuba is 90 miles south of the of Key West in Miami. Mexico border, it's a totally different thing.
Right.
Like Marcelo Hernandez is like my little brother, basically. He used to do a joke. He goes, a guy comes up to him, he goes, "You Mexican?" He goes, "No, not Mexican." He goes, "You're white?" He goes, "Why did you stop there? There's so many other
Yeah.
Latino countries."
Yeah.
But the way that it worked in the immigration system, the Cubans, this, they would flee Cuba, they would get on their raft, and they would sail to America. As soon as they put that dry foot down, they could not be deported.
Wet foot, dry foot. Yeah.
What is it? Wet foot, dry foot.
Yeah, like basically you
Exactly.
just have to get to Miami.
But in the border
or to
these
the
days, it's a lot different. So as a Cuban, a family is Cuban, do you not have empathy for what's going on? They're crossing the border. How do you distinguish between, all right, the Cubans, they can come through, they get the dry foot. The Mexicans, the wetbacks, not so fast. And granted, they're finding Afghanis, Chinese, Iranians, Azerbaijanis. They're finding people from all over the world that are crossing the border here, not just Mexicans. I mean, a lot of people want to label this. So as a proud Cuban American, how do you process that?
I can't make this clear enough. There's nothing to do with my parents, my grandparents when they came over here, fleeing communism, and what they did when they got here. First of all, and they didn't come in a boat, they came in a plane. But when they came over here and their work ethic and their buy-in to the American dream and their contribution to this country, to what is happening now, it's, and what I'm saying also is a generational thing. Because I'm saying when my grandparents left, my parents left, that was like right there, communism happened, they left right away. Even the ones that are coming now, because they've been in Cuba for so long and they have communism and they just like, their brains are just mush. Some of them come and they still have some idea of like, I want to get away from that. And some come in and it's the same thing as what you're seeing in the grocery store with the TikTok. So, but I cannot express this enough. What my parents, and again, grandparents, because they were older when they came, my parents were young. My grandparents coming over here, and even my husband coming over here, and what's happening now has absolutely nothing, can I make this clear? Nothing to do with what is happening. They came here and they contributed so much, I would say even more. And Hialeah, what you were just talking about, I lived there for a while. The restaurants were there. My parents grew up there. We started the restaurants there. Hialeah was built off a bunch of people that came. So there were entrepreneurs, there were doctors, lawyers, whatever, professionals in Cuba. They came over here. They started from scratch. And in their small lifetime, from 25 to 60, my grandparents sent both of their kids, my mom and my uncle, to private universities. They got here when they were 25. With a newborn and pregnant, they got here and sent both their kids to private university and have two professional, I would say, above average successful kids that were first generation here. I mean, that is not what you're seeing here. This is a complete opposite. This is giving back to the country that did so much to you, to I'm going to take every single thing. And like we were saying, it's because they are incentivized to do so. Where before it was they were incentivized to work really hard to make it. But I really...
But do you think the people who are coming in now everywhere else, if they came in during the time of your grandparents, it would be more accepted than they're coming in today? Because I'm sure there are also immigrants coming in
from other countries
who are pregnant and they want a better life. And I'm not saying all immigrants are bad people. Like you said, Hialeah is built on, a whole bunch of...
But why are they... Because that was the whole thing. It was communism, let's get out to have a better life. This is... They've been messed up forever. They're messed up and they're just going, I really, in my heart of hearts, I believe, they are coming because they're painted this, you get free this, you get free that. You walk in and essentially you get a goodie bag that has, the phone and you get... What were they doing? $10,000 debit card in New York.
They weren't doing that when your grandparents.
Absolutely. No, it was the complete opposite is what I'm saying.
It could be the timing.
Nobody was getting that. Whether you were Russian, whether you were Italian, whether you were Irish, whether you were Cuban.
No.
Nobody was getting what some of these people are getting today.
Nothing.
Which leads me to my last topic on this. If we can pull this up. It seems to me that the inmates are running the asylum.
Oh, God.
We've heard this theory before, but it's manifesting itself with the open border policy right now. And it seems like they're laughing at us.
Yes.
And they're seeming like the Venezuelan guy saying that I don't work because I have allergies and that it's okay just because
he's allergic to
shot
work.
somebody, made a mistake. These are things that we should stand for and say, no, we don't play this game over here. Right. And I'm never one to villainize immigrants because if you grow up in Miami, you have Cuban friends, you have Colombian friends, you have Venezuelan friends, you got Jamaican friends, you have Puerto Rican friends, you have Mexican friends, you have Jewish friends, you have Muslim friends, like that, the Russian friends, like. But there's something going on in America that's giving you pause of being like, this ain't it, y'all.
Yeah.
This ain't it. Whoa, whoa, whoa! If you like that one, click right here to watch the full SOSCAST, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel.